as usual. I'm tired. Definitely tired.
Yeah.
But I'm good. It was
Okay. What was one positive thing that you took away from last week?
That I took some time to rest and be present with friends. That can be hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Being with, having so much work to do.
Gotcha. So you just feel like that rest kind of, that rest and time with friends, it was able to bring some life, bring some rejuvenation, even though work is heavy, right?
Yeah, I was definitely feeling low on energy, and when I got to spend time with friends and got to spend some time alone, it definitely helped.
Okay, great. So how is everything going with your mom and things like that?
It's okay. She went into a new care facility this week, and so that was actually a really difficult transition because she had to go from one place to a different place because her care is becoming more intensive, and so this week was a really big week, and it added on top of everything that I had to do because we had to pack up the one house and we had to move her to the memory care because she actually was diagnosed this week with dementia, and so it's hard.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
Exhausted.
Okay. Okay.
I'm feeling exhausted, but I am also happy that she is going to have some more nurses to take care of her.
Yeah.
And that I'll be able to go and visit her. And so I'm excited to go and be able to visit her at this new place. Versus the last place, they wouldn't let me visit as often. But now I can visit her whenever I want to.
Okay.
But
that's encouraging.
Yes, it is encouraging. But she's starting to forget more and more things day by day.
Okay. So you mentioned feeling exhausted. What about that is exhausting to you?
I think it's the mental energy of watching, well, there's the physical this week, physical energy of having to move all of her things, and then she got rid of a lot of things, and so, or passed down a lot of things, and so there's just a lot that we had to do, and physically, but then mentally, there's a lot of just pain involved in watching your mom change and forget things and lose her memory and see things that aren't real. So she's been, what's that word called when you are seeing something that's not there? Hallucinating.
Yeah.
So it's just very saddening and very disheartening to see that.
Yeah. What kind of support do you have around you at the moment?
My husband has been, but he's been pretty busy as well. But he's been able to help a little bit here and there. And my kids have been, most of them are out of town, and so they'll call in every once in a while. But they have come to visit her just a couple times, and so that's been helpful. And my siblings, only one of them is in town, and so they will help and be there to support. And I have a small group of friends who will check in. We've got a group chat that we talk in, and we share about our days and about what's been going on in our lives, and so we'll talk about that with each other as well.
So you feel like the hardest part for you right now is just adding more to your plate when you already have a lot going on with work, and then watching that kind of mental deterioration, in a way, just kind of affect your mom.
Yeah. It's like a feeling of slowly losing somebody. So watching that deterioration day by day get worse or change, or it definitely is hard to watch. Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry you're going through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be really tough.
Yeah.
Well, with the support that you do have, is there anybody that you feel like can relate, or that you can kind of lean on more as you go through this, or even delegating some of the physical work in a way to, support system so it doesn't feel so heavy on your own plate?
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how it goes with this new nursing home that she's in, because there will be a lot more help and a lot more nurses and people to help out. But my siblings obviously will they know what's going on, and they can be in the same boat. And one of my siblings, they live in town, or one of them does, and they can help out, and I'm sure that we will figure out some sort of system where we can tag team going and visiting and helping and figuring it out, so that it's not just all on one person. So that's a little bit of the physical. So being able to share the load with my siblings.
Absolutely. How does it feel to have your siblings also as a part of this process, and how are they feeling?
Oh, it's very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard for all of us, but we're in it together. And we're all experiencing the same thing with our mom, and it's very helpful to have them be a support system. I think that they are tired too, but I just only imagine what it would be like if I was an only child, or
Yeah. Tell me more about your relationship with your mom.
Well, we've been pretty close. I would say I've always been closer to her than the rest of my siblings. We just kind of click. We have a similar personality. And it's definitely gotten harder over the years. Just, with age, they become more particular and like their things their way. But I've always loved living close to my mom. For a while, I didn't live close to them and close to her, and so we love hanging out, and we love going to get Taco Bell together, and we love we love holidays together, and so we've had a pretty positive relationship. I would say I have a lot more understanding and a good friendship with my mom. And so that just makes it all the harder to see her develop.
Yeah. You said you were the closest one out of your siblings to your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like a best friend in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like that. She has been one of my best friends my whole life.
Just somebody that's always in your corner.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As we are looking, into the future of our sessions together, what would you like to kind of work on? What are you looking to get out of counseling in a way? Okay.
I think that Definitely, like, as my mom declines, coping skills are not something that that I don't feel like I have very much.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely looking for just like alternate ways of thinking about situations or opening up different ways of coping, or I don't know, it's been rough because my dad has also been like really difficult in this situation. For a while he was helping out, but a couple times in my life they almost went through a divorce. And so I feel like seeing the way that he's handling my mom's sickness has really been hard. I've had a conversation with him where he expressed just kind of wanting to drop everything and leave because of how difficult it's gotten, and he's not exactly the most gracious man I've ever met.
Yeah.
So to see him in this light, you know, I feel like as a kid he would hide these things from us. He would hide like his negative feelings towards my mom just to protect us, but as obviously all of us are grown adults now, he just really doesn't care to hide those emotions. And so I've definitely seen him take a turn for the worse and become almost depressed again. And I just have a feeling that like the ball's gonna drop anytime, and he's just gonna up and leave all of the caretaking to us, which of course we would do because we love her, but he just is like seems to be mentally like getting worse as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's been a difficult, connection between the two of them in this process, and you're hearing about, the more negative feelings that are being produced by what's going on and the nature of their relationship. And
Right.
that's just, how do you feel like that's affecting you in your heart?
I think it's really disheartening because it shows an example of marriage that's not till death do us part, like it's not through health and through sickness. What is it? Through sickness and health. And he just seems pretty selfish to me.
Yeah.
And so that strains our relationship because there's no sacrifice there, and so then I feel like I'm forced to be separated from my mom in a way because she's slowly getting sicker and sicker, but then like I could be close with my dad, but he's choosing to separate himself.
Absolutely. So you're just kind of stuck in this triangle of like, okay, he's trying to leave and just uproot and drop everything into your lap personally because she's not doing well.
Right.
And she's, getting sicker, and you're just watching this process play out.
Yeah. And deeply affected by it as a daughter.
Yeah. And even in the marriage concept, like you mentioned, you feel like it's not a great example of till death do us part. Like,
right.
We are gonna be here for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been really difficult to process and to watch all the different reactions in the family, and of course my mom loves him so much and loves us.
Yeah. That can be really hard. I can hear the energy in your voice just kind of super low. Yeah.
Just so much going on in my head. Like it just feels like it's like spinning and spinning and spinning, and just like analyzing everything. And
yeah. What kind of self-care have you been implementing?
not a ton. Yeah, I don't feel like I've done very well with it.
I can imagine. It sounds like you've got a ton going on. between work, siblings, your parents' relationship,
Yeah.
helping your mom.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've got a busy schedule.
Yeah, I think that's why I just feel so exhausted because I think that I'm getting some rest, like I talked about earlier, but I don't think I ever give full weight to what I'm feeling. And so I don't know, I really haven't done much self-care. Like I said, a little bit of hanging out with people, that's energizing and restful for me, but
Yeah. So it sounds like you've added a corner of self-care that's like, okay, this is my time with friends. This is where I get to check out mentally, check in with friends, and be part of something I enjoy.
Yeah, I definitely like to avoid the feelings for sure.
Okay.
So checking out sounds about right.
Really?
Yeah. I'm an avoider for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like over time that can cause bigger emotions? You know, what have you experienced with that as you avoid these emotions?
It feels good in the moment.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I always have to come back and deal with it later.
What does dealing with it looks like when you do come back?
A lot of like tears when I like allow emotions to catch up to me, I think. Maybe rage, anger, I get really angry at all the stuff happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
I yell at my kids sometimes. I take it out on other people.
It's easy to, I'm sure, after you've been bottling it, you know, and then one little trigger pops up and it's like unpop the lid from the bottle, but you've been holding all of these strong, heavy emotions.
Yeah.
And so there can
that feels
be
about
grace
right.
in that.
It feels about right.
Sounds accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, I get pretty embarrassed at how I take it out on other people, like my children or my husband.
Do you ever, you know, communicate that and
I'm too embarrassed.
talk through that? Okay, so it's more of just that self-embarrassment, self-shame in a way. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yes, I would say shame is definitely a part of it.
Okay.
I think I've tried to have the conversation, but yeah, the shame catches up and it's really hard to admit when I'm wrong, when I've been wrong. And I think that comes from probably my dad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd love to unpack, you know, more of that in our next session.
Okay.
More of, you know, what it has looked like in the past with your dad. And just really kind of navigate and explore where those roots came from. But I think what we can do just to alleviate some of what's going on and some of that bottling up, maybe that lack of self-care even, of just really intentionally placing those moments throughout your week so you can regain some mental strength, some emotional strength, you know, to get through even more, just a couple days. And I'm sure that it's been heavy for you, and I can hear that.
Yeah.
But, you know, unpacking that a little bit, unpacking maybe the avoidance of those emotions that's going on, especially right now, because what you're going to see more than likely is the avoidance of your emotions and unpacking those, of course, especially if you know that that's a tendency for you. And then you're going to notice that shame and guilt that comes from, yelling at your husband or your kids and feeling like that misplaced anger, those misplaced emotions are coming out in such a huge way that it makes you feel shameful, makes you feel embarrassed. So you have this, I'm forgetting the word, but basically like this pull in both directions.
Tug of war.
Yeah. And you're constantly either going to be feeling that avoidance and, that kind of like, I gotta sit with this, I gotta unpack this, and then you're also going to be feeling that shame and that embarrassment.
Yeah.
So we're going to want to move in the direction of unpacking that a little bit. But as we get there, I'm so thankful and appreciative of how much your insight and your honesty has brought to our sessions, and I am confident that when you are describing these things and we can unpack these things, then you're really gonna find more answers within yourself than you thought possible. I'm excited for that for you.
I hope so. Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. Well, this week, I think a good way that we can just start the process of maybe having a little bit less avoidance would be by placing intentional self-care in your week before we meet again, or a couple weeks before we meet again, depending on your availability.
Do you have any suggestions?
I was gonna ask you.
Oh no!
What can you brainstorm that you feel like gives you a feeling of support, or even just a feeling of a little bit more life brought to you? Whether that's solitude, whether that's time with a specific friend, gardening, a hobby, exercise, you name it.
Yeah. Something I've been wanting to do and just have been kind of avoiding or forgetting, or I don't know, just straight up not doing is sewing a hat. So I've been meaning to, I love sewing, and I have this hat that I started and I never finished it, and it's just like a good quiet time to sew. So I guess I could try and sit down with it and do a little work with my hands. And so.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any other, things that you'd like to add in along with sewing the hat?
Maybe journaling. It's been a long time since I've tried journaling anything.
Okay.
I think life has just been moving so quickly that I haven't just sat down to journal in a while.
Yeah.
So even if I write 3 words, it at least would mean something, sitting down and journaling maybe.
Okay. Well, we've got a solid 2 little self-care habits that you can seek anytime in the next couple weeks to add those into your routine. I would encourage you, as you do look to do that, look for something that might challenge those, something that always gets in the way so you can't find a time to do those things. And then once you think through those challenges and think through, I always do this instead of sitting down and sewing the hat, or I always keep my days so busy that I don't even think to do it, or think to pick up the hat, or think to pick up a journal. And then thinking through those challenges will help you actually be able to implement those things, because those come up all the time. For everyone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But
okay, cool, thanks.
of course. Thank you for sitting down and just going through these things, and I absolutely will be in your corner too to support you as you go through this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That feels better.
Good. All right, that's a wrap.